we've got the new Sony PSVR 2. And this is one of the most premium virtual reality experiences you can get right now. It's not cheap though. Let's find out if it's worth the money. I reviewed the original PlayStation VR back in 2016, and at the time, I called it a must-have for any PS4 owner. I was super impressed with how easy it was to set up and use and the selection of games available made it great value for money. It had decent tracking, and I felt pretty immersed in the games that I played, especially because the screen had an old panel. This meant each eye could be rendered separately, meaning a much better quality image compared to other headsets. The problem was the tracking wasn't perfect, and after a few updates it started to become unusable. Fast forward 6 years later, and we've got the brand new Sony PSVR 2. Now, it's only compatible with the PS5. And while there's no price difference, you do need to purchase a PS5 first before getting this. So all in all, it's going to cost quite a lot. But when I first put on the headset, it instantly felt more premium than the original. The original PSVR used a single OLED panel, but the new PSVR 2 has two OLED panels, one for each eye. This gives a much higher resolution per eye compared to the original PSVR, which only had 960 by 1080 pixels per eye. The new PSVR 2 has 2000 by 2400 per eye. Also, with this being a newer headset, you get some really nice upgrades, like a super wide 110-degree field of view, improved tracking, and simplified setup. Plus, there's also built-in headphones, so you don't need to use a separate headset. Oh yeah, and did I mention the haptic feedback? That's right. The new PSVR 2 also has haptic feedback built into the headset itself. And this is way better than having the vibration pack strapped to your waist. It's awesome. So overall, the PSVR 2 is a huge upgrade over the original. It's PSVR. But the thing is, the PSVR 2 is actually backwards compatible with the older PSVR games. And this is where things start to get interesting. See, when the original PSVR came out, there was an absolute ton of games released for it. Some were amazing, and others were kind of boring. But one game stood out above the rest, and that's Resident Evil 7. At the time, this was a next-gen game, and playing it on the PSVR just took things to another level. To this day, it's still one of my favorite PSVR games, and I still occasionally fire it up and play it again. Now, the PSVR 2 isn't out yet, so I haven't tested it with Res. Evil 7, but based on the improvements we're getting, I'm expecting a pretty incredible experience. Another great thing about the original PSVR is that it supported 360 cameras. This meant that developers could create games that fully utilized the 360 cameras, allowing for some pretty incredible experiences. This was awesome because it allowed players to immerse themselves even further into the game. Unfortunately, with the new PSVR 2, it doesn't look like we're going to see any of these 360 camera games anymore, because the new PSVR 2 only has a 108 OP camera built into it, so it seems like it's only capable of recording flat 2D footage. But hey, maybe I'm wrong, and we will see some cool 360 camera games for the PSVR 2. One of the biggest downsides to the original PSVR was the tracking. It was good enough to get the job done, but it wasn't perfect. There was always a slight delay between what you saw on the screen and what you were actually doing. This wasn't too bad in slower-paced games, but in action-packed games, it could be a little jarring. The new PSVR 2 uses a combination of 4 cameras and a brand new tracking system. Now, it's not full-body tracking like the Quest 2 or the Index S, but it does seem to be an improvement over the original PSVR. We'll have to wait and see how it performs in actual gameplay. The PSVR 2 has 2 controllers, and they look pretty cool with their unique shape and colors. The buttons are similar to the DualSense controller. It's got the same PS button, microphone mute button, and a menu button. It's also a trigger and grip button. On the side, there's a thumbstick that allows you to adjust the volume. And last but not least, there's a touchpad which looks similar to the one on the DualSense controller. Now, since the PSVR 2 is backwards compatible with the original PSVR games, you can use the old PSVR controller with it. It also means the games you already own on your PS5 will work with the PSVR 2. Now, I think it's awesome that Sony did this, but I also think it's pretty short-sighted. I mean, sure, it's great that people who already own the original PSVR controllers can use them with the new headset. But it also means that games for the PSVR 2 won't be optimized for the new controllers. Not every game will support the new PSV2 controllers, which means that if you want to take full advantage of the new features, you'll have to upgrade to the new PSV2 controllers. When I first tried the new PSVR 2 controllers, I was super impressed with how well they worked. The triggers are super responsive, and the haptics are insane. Plus, it's got a built-in gyroscope, which means it can detect any movement, even the smallest ones. As for the games, well, there's not much to say at this point because most of the games aren't out yet. One game that is available is Horizon: Call of the Mountain. This is a brand new IP that's exclusive to the PSVR. 2. It's an open-world adventure game that takes place in a fantasy version of the Earth. The graphics are absolutely stunning. The colors are vibrant, and the world is just so immersive. The game is also super fun to play. The combat is fast-paced and engaging, and the puzzles are challenging but rewarding. The game also has a lot of replay value because there's so much to explore. Overall, Horizon: Call of the Mountain is a must-play for anyone who owns a PSVR 2. In terms of performance, the PSVR 2 is supposed to be able to run at 90 to 120 frames per second, which is a big improvement over the original PSVR, which could only do 60 frames per second. This means that games will look and feel smoother, which will make them more immersive. The original PSVR had a pretty powerful processor, but the PSVR 2 is even more powerful. It's got a custom-made chip that's specifically designed for virtual reality. This means that the PSVR 2 will be able to render games faster and with better graphics. The PSVR 2 also supports HDR, which means that games will have a wider range of colors and contrast. Overall, the PSVR 2 is a huge step up from the original PSVR, and it's one of the best VR experiences you can get right now. The new OLED display is a huge upgrade, and it makes games look even more immersive than before. The new tracking system is also a big improvement, and it makes gameplay even smoother. The new PSVR 2 controllers are a nice addition, and they add a lot of new features. And games like Horizon: Call of the Mountain show just how powerful the PSVR 2 really is. In the end, the PSVR 2 is definitely worth the money. If you're a PS5 owner and you're looking for a VR headset, the PSVR 2 is definitely the way to go. It's expensive, but it's definitely worth the money. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, happy questing.